Hello and welcome to Let's Play Doctor. Dr. Joel Wallach, your host, a veterinarian and physician. And I'm here for kids and baby boomers and seniors who don't want to die at 75.5 like their parents and grandparents. I'm here for kids and baby boomers and seniors who don't want to be sick and miserable for the last 15 to 20 years of their life like their parents and grandparents. I am a conservative, and a lot of people say I treat them like dogs, but they do seem to get better. Now, if you have a personal health challenge you want to ask about, if you have a health challenge of a friend, a loved one, a workmate, or if you want to talk about medical politics or the home-based business opportunity, give us a call toll-free at 1-877-912-PLAY. And it's toll-free, 1-877-912-7529. All right. Well, some of you may remember about 3 months ago, I was made the chairman of the Scientific Advisory Board for a small, not-for-profit 501c3 organization called Defying Muscular Dystrophy. Now, this is a group of people who got together to do something different for the muscular dystrophy people, the muscular dystrophy patients, who are just really not getting much support from the national organization. I'm talking about all the people out there with muscular dystrophy. Nothing's really happening, especially since the telethon sort of ended 3 years ago when they fired Jerry Lewis. They fired Jerry Lewis because he took my data to them on the good things we were doing with kids with muscular dystrophy. And while this is not directly a longevity program, I've been made the chairman of the Medical Advisory Board. And so I'm very, very excited about that because it's going to give me a chance to help these people raise some money from a volunteer basis. We're going to try and get a telethon going next year in Vegas. We're already talking to some celebrities, both professional athletes and actresses and actors and singers and all kinds of people. People who are professionals who are of all kinds, who are very famous. People would recognize them. There's been movies made about them and all kinds of stuff. And so we're very excited about what's happening here because I personally believe that we already know the cause, prevention, and cure of cystic fibrosis. We already know the cause, prevention, and cure of muscular dystrophy. We've been doing this for a long time. And so it's time that we get on to the next step here because it's obvious the medical system is not going to get excited about it. It's obvious that the National Foundation for Cystic Fibrosis and the National Foundation for Muscular Dystrophy aren't going to get excited about it, even though I actually wrote up a wonderful study that involved 1,700 kids. We're not talking about 3 kids, 1 kid, what mama said. This is published stuff in the scientific journals, and they continue to disregard these blatant facts. Facts are pesky things, somebody said, right? Facts are pesky things. And so we're ready to move on. And this is something that Louis Pasteur did when he ran into the same thing in the 1800s about the medical profession just refused to believe that there were germs. They thought that diseases were caused by what they called spontaneous generation. They just happened because you didn't burn enough goats for the little god up there on Mars to make him happy, so you got a disease. That god up there on Mars gave you disease as punishment because you didn't burn enough goats for him. That's what medical doctors believed. Well, when Pasteur came along, he went directly to the public. Because when he met the resistance, he began to hold vaccination experiments out in the city square of Paris. The press just loved it, and the press brought the information to the people. And so we're bringing the information. We do know the cause, prevention, and cure of cystic fibrosis and muscular dystrophy. And I want everybody to go online, look up Defying Muscular Dystrophy is the name of this organization, Defying, D-E-F-Y-I-N-G, Defying Muscular Dystrophy, and it's a nonprofit, and we're going to start fundraising here certainly by the beginning of the year. There's no reason why you can't start now. They've already raised a large amount of money for one study, which they did. It was an FDA-approved study. They finished the study and made all the government officials happy, so they have a track record of doing this. And so I'm very excited about that, and we do want to raise the money. And the reason is we want to be able to get people to get on these programs using longevity products. That's the connection, longevity products, our program. And what we want them to do then is keep track of everything, report every month their medical data for a year, and then after a year, our goal is to raise enough money to reimburse them fully for their first year's program, for being willing to step out there and trust us enough to go ahead and buy the program and just jump in and do exactly as we say. Have everything to gain, nothing to lose, because if we're able to raise the money, we will reimburse them. That's just very exciting. And so that's it's called a reimbursement program as opposed to paying for everything for everybody. It's just, whoever the first people are, and we don't care if it's 100 people or 1,000 people or 1,000,000 people, whatever it is, who are muscular dystrophy patients, legitimately diagnosed. They have to have all the records to prove they've been diagnosed. And we have such great luck. We already know the scenario. Kids are like 3 to 5 years old. Usually within a couple of weeks they see dramatic months. In a month or so, they have no clinical symptoms of muscular dystrophy anymore. When they're, say, 6 to 10 years old, it might take 2 to 3 months. When they're 10 to 15 years old, it might take 4 to 6 months. When they're 18 to 25 years old, it may take 6 months to a year, depending on how much damage they have. They have to do the diet, they have to do the supplement program, and then we have people who are in their 20s, and they see dramatic results within 90 days, but then to get really complete 100% clinical improvement, it might take 6 months to a year. Very exciting stuff. So we already have enough numbers, so we know how this thing pans out. And we're ready now to move on to big, big groups of people who have these problems, and we can save America by preventing these diseases. Now, we believe we know how to prevent, reverse, and cure cystic fibrosis and muscular dystrophy. We'll be back with Leslie Doctor after these messages. We're back with Leslie Doctor on the Mara Radio Network. Dr. Joel Wallach here for Youngevity and 90 for Life Crusade. We do have lines open. Give us a call toll-free, 1-877-912-PLAY. Again, that's toll-free, 1-877-912-7529. And we have the A-team in here today. Hello, Tom.
Hello, Dr. Wallach. How you doing?
Fabulous. I'm excited about this Defying Muscular Dystrophy because it's going to take us to the next level without the help of the medical bunch, because they are just dragging their toes. It seems like they're more interested in raising money than they are helping kids.
It's very exciting stuff. I'm excited as well. I'm really looking forward to it. I know we can help them, so like you say, take that next step.
Yeah, well, the next step is we're going to find a place in Vegas that will allow us to have the event, and then contract with them to pay them a little bit every month until we pay them off. Afterwards, not have money up front. We're going to get celebrities to throw in their talents to attract people to donate. I don't care if it's a penny, a dime, whatever it is. We need to get this thing going here and do kind of a Louis Pasteur type of thing, and I think we can do it.
I know we can.
Yep. Okay, well, let's start out. Let's go to Texas and Scott. Scott, you're on the air.
Hi, Dr. Wallach. I was calling to check. We go to church with some folks who have a granddaughter who's had cystic fibrosis. She's 17 years old now. She ends up in the hospital 3, 4, maybe 5 times a year for about a week at a time to get her lung function up, and we're wanting to help her. We're new to Youngevity. I saw the research you've done and wanted to get your input so we could share with them.
Sure. Well, the best place to start with them is the book Dead Doctors Don't Lie. It has a chapter called Monkey Business, and it goes into all of the research that I did initially on cystic fibrosis and how I discovered the first non-human case of cystic fibrosis in a primate at the Yerkes Primate Center in Emory University in Atlanta, Georgia. Was subsequently fired when I told them cystic fibrosis was not genetic. It's a simple nutritional deficiency disease. Of course, I've been dealing with it since 1977. Know probably more than all the medical doctors put together about cystic fibrosis. Okay, one study I did it was in China. Did 1,700 autopsies on kids under the age of 10 who had died of Keyson's disease, which is a disease that's a known deficiency of selenium, a cardiomyopathy heart disease, known deficiency of selenium. Even the World Health Organization agrees that's what it is. And I posited, theorized that if I was correct, that cystic fibrosis was actually caused by a deficiency of selenium, that there should be some of these Chinese kids who are dying at young ages with cardiomyopathy heart disease. They had to have cystic fibrosis also if I was in fact correct. Okay, and they said, well, it can't be because these are Chinese kids, and cystic fibrosis is supposed to be a genetic disease of white Europeans. Eastern Europeans. At any rate, we went there, my wife and I went there, and we did these 1,700 autopsies, and lo and behold, 35%, 595 out of the 1,700 actually had cystic fibrosis, and 100% had muscular dystrophy. Published it in 2 languages in China, published it in the United States in a very well-respected international scientific journal, sent all this to the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, sent it to the Muscular Dystrophy Foundation, never received a word back from them. And so basically we've been treating hit and miss kids with it as we could as we go along. So the book, Dead Doctors Don't Lie, the chapter called Monkey Business. In the book called Rare Earths of Hidden Cures in Chapter 11, under the section on selenium, and also in Chapter 7 on diseases that are thought to be genetic, are really just mineral deficiencies. Chapter 7, Chapter 11. Okay. And it's amazing how much information is known because of the research that I've done. And it's not bragging, it's just a fact. And so that's where I would start them to get the information. And basically, these kids, 100% of them will have a gluten intolerance. This girl has to get on a gluten-free diet, 17 years old. She and her mother and all her siblings, brothers and sisters, have to get on a gluten-free diet, no wheat, barley, rye, and oats. We actually have a CD called Cereal Killers, which will teach them how to find all the hidden sources of gluten because it's everywhere now. They use it for filling everywhere because tapioca flour, which they used to use for thickening ice cream and yogurt and things like that, are too expensive now. And so they use wheat flour, which is much cheaper, of course, than everybody contacts it. But it's so common that every grocery store now has a gluten-free aisle, so it's not that difficult. Also, based on body weight, this girl, 17 years old, should get 1 healthy heart and brain pack per 100 pounds body weight. So she weighs anywhere from 75 pounds to 125 pounds. I'd have her take 1 healthy heart and brain pack per month, cut it in half, give her half a dose of breakfast, half a dose of dinner. If she weighs more than 150 pounds, I'd have her take 2 healthy heart and brain packs per month, 1 full dose for at breakfast, 1 full dose at dinner. And that's going to give her enough selenium, but it's imperative that the whole family, including her, goes on a gluten-free diet. Cross-contamination is just as bad as direct consumption of it. The dog and the cat and the canary in the house cannot have gluten in their diet, so no dry cat and dog food and canary food. Absolutely, out of sympathy, the father's got to get on a gluten-free diet, but certainly the mother and all her siblings have to be gluten-free, and you're going to see dramatic benefit. But it's going to have to be an obsessive thing with the diet, and it's going to have to be an obsessive thing with the supplement program. Okay?
Okay. Now, so when you're saying supplement program, the 90 for Life program as well as the Heart and Mind.
Well, that's the 90 for Life is in. It's encompassed in the Healthy Heart and Brain Pack. It's just instead of listing the 6 supplements in there, I just say the Healthy Heart and Brain Pack, and you get the box, and so it's all already in there. Okay. So the selenium, everything else she needs, 100% is in there, but the gluten-free diet is imperative.